and we'll get into the role of CO2 in our breathing patterns. So a significant factor in air hunger is this imbalance of CO2 and oxygen. Now, those are broad because when you inhale, you're getting in different things other than just O2, and when you exhale, you're exhaling different things other than CO2. For these purposes, that's what we're going to focus on. So it's not that you need more air, even though your body's kind of tricking you. Breathe more, breathe more, breathe more. You have this urge to breathe. You don't need more oxygen. You need more balance. So you need to be less sensitive to the CO2 rising level. And as the CO2 kind of rises in your bloodstream, that's what prompts you to breathe, not oxygen or lack of oxygen. It's your sensitivity to CO2. So think about it this way. This is how I finally got this. Imagine if you jumped in a pool and you were holding your breath, okay? Underwater, you're holding your breath. It's not that you don't have enough oxygen, because technically you can be under that water for 1 or more minutes, okay? You can be under the water for a longer time. So you don't need more oxygen. What makes you come up and gasp for air is your sensitivity to CO2. So that's why we can train this. This is why free divers kind of overcome that urge to jump up and breathe, and they do it slowly, periodically over a long period of time. They're working on their controlled pause. They're working on their sensitivity to CO2 and building a tolerance to it. Well, right now, some of my clients, when they do a gentle breath hold, they might only be able to hold their breath for a few seconds. Well, imagine if your bolt test, that's what we call that, a bolt test, where you breathe and then you hold your breath and you see how long you can hold your breath. Once you feel that sensation, that urge to breathe, that's when we would take that number. So like I said, for some people who are super high in anxiety and have air hunger, they might only be able to hold their breath for a couple minutes without having that urge to breathe. Well, imagine if throughout the day you're not really thinking about it, how often your body is cueing you to breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. And it's this increase in inhalation pattern that's stimulating the nervous system, because on your inhale, when you breathe in, it is naturally going to raise your heart rate. It's going to stimulate the nervous system just a little bit. And on your exhale, the exhale is connected to the parasympathetic nervous system state. So the exhale helps you relax. So each inhale, each exhale is going to do something different to your nervous system. And what people who are really sensitive to their CO2 is they're favoring the inhale. They're inhaling a lot, too much, too hard, too deep, too fast. It's called overbreathing. We'll just kind of like call it overbreathing. So they're doing this overbreathing, inhale dominant breathing pattern. Then keeping them in that cycle, because it's almost training them to be more sensitive to CO2. So overbreathing, hyperventilation, all of this is going to reduce CO2 in the blood, and that will lead to symptoms such as dizziness, lightheadedness, and air hunger. So CO2 is not a bad thing. The CO2 imbalance is what's really closely linked to anxiety disorders. So what you need to know about that is breathing with a correct breathing pattern, like we kind of mentioned earlier, slower breathing, and eventually, if you are major hyperventilations, panic attacks, air hunger, retention, breath holding, gentle, is going to be the thing that helps you reestablish this balance and helps you not be so sensitive to CO2, so that you become really hungry for air, become really, really hungry for that oxygen. You need more, you need more. It's an overcompensation or an overconsumption pattern. So that it's like when you're overbreathing or you have air hunger, it's like you're overconsuming air. And just like we can overconsume food, we can overconsume work, we can overconsume content, we like to overconsume. Like we can overconsume really well. Well, this is showing up as like a physical manifestation in your body. So because you like to overconsume certain things, and I'm guilty too, so like I've been through this, we're going to actually start to starve your air hunger. So slowly starting to starve it through a better pattern, a slower rate, and then eventually we get into retention. So I'll talk more about that, but I wanted to give you I broke away for a moment. Coming back to the article, CO2 sensitivity and tolerance. Researchers from institutions like Cleveland Clinic emphasize CO2's role in regulating breathing. When CO2 levels drop due to overbreathing, the brain mistakenly signals a need for more air, prompting faster breathing, even when oxygen levels are adequate. That's why so many of my clients, myself included, are like, we went to the ER, we went to the doctor. My O2 saturation is, 90, 98, 99, 100. Well, that's not what we're looking at. Improving CO2 tolerance, which is very hard to measure. And like I said, we use the Bolt test. This will involve slow, light breathing exercises to reset this balance. Techniques like our 360-degree diaphragmatic breathing pattern, gentle retention exercises, controlled exhalations. These can help to restore that normal diaphragm function and balance CO2 levels, easing the sensation of air hunger. What I can tell you about somebody who's overcome like severe air hunger and panic attacks is I still notice a lot of these dysfunctional breathing patterns because they've probably been with me for a while. But it's almost like my alarm system, my cue, oh, I'm not breathing well. I'm not breathing regularly or naturally or normally. It's a clue to me that there's something else in my well-being that I need to take care of, that I'm stress breathing. And so it's almost this really, it's become almost my friend, believe it or not. I know some people are like, what? Anxiety is your friend, or breathing pattern disorder is your friend. And it is, because it's my cue that I need to change something that's going on in my lifestyle. Maybe I need more sleep. Maybe I need, less intense exercise. Maybe I need to hang out with my friends. Maybe I need to, I'm just thinking of like all the laundry and the dishes. Maybe I need to not do so many chores. Like fill in the blank. But something needs to, I need to rest. I need to restore. I need to calm down. And so this awareness of my breathing isn't like it was when I had air hunger, where I felt consumed and I felt like helpless to it. It's like a little gentle cue. Hey, honey, your mouth breathing. You're breathing really short and shallow. What's going on? Time to slow down. Time to chill. Time to rest. Because I'm a high achiever and maybe you are too. And so this can be a really, really great growth and learning tool if you embrace it like that. So let's get into the 4 steps I use to help people manage air hunger. First, I want all my clients to get a medical evaluation, because what I've learned and what I know is that we need to make sure there's no underlying medical issues such as asthma or heart disease or respiratory disorders that need to be managed with appropriate medical treatment. So go see your doctor, get an evaluation, see what they have to say about this, see a therapist, like make sure you're doing those types of things too, besides just coaching and YouTube education or Google education. Make sure you're seeing your doctor about this. Next, breathing techniques. So we are going to want to improve the pattern and the pace. Diaphragmatic breathing, these are so effective in managing air hunger and promoting that slower, more regulated breathing pattern. And these techniques that I use will help to retrain your CO2, counteracting that symptom of air hunger, hyperventilation, overbreathing. Next, this is like a huge section that I like to work with clients on. It's mindfulness and stress management. So we want to incorporate mindfulness practices to reduce anxiety-related air hunger. Harvard Medical School suggests that mindfulness meditation can lower the body's stress response. Slow breathing and will decrease breathlessness by shifting the body from that sympathetic fight or flight to the parasympathetic rest and digest state. I recommend starting clients with a 10-minute daily mindfulness practice to manage anxiety. So when you meet with me, if we start working together, that's where we'll usually start. Once your nervous system is more regulated and relaxed and balanced, then we begin breath retraining with proper biomechanics, because it's not very helpful if you're experiencing major air hunger to go right into breath work. We need to turn down the volume on your anxiety a little bit using more meditative, somatic sound therapy, those types of things to help you calm down, feel safe. And then from that more peaceful state, we can start to restore the breathing pattern. After we reset the breathing pattern, we will then reduce our breathing pace with gentle retention practices like box breathing, controlled pause breathing, humming bee breath, alternate nostril breathing, and then somatic movement practices I'll start to incorporate as well, especially if there's a lot of emotional processing that needs to happen. This will also help to restore the balance in our nervous system. Finally, the final step is wellness and lifestyle modifications. I want you to not suffer from anxiety and breathing pattern disorders. I want you to learn how to manage it. It's not really helpful to say that I want you to be stress-free and never have this symptom again. No, I want you to not suffer from it ever again. I want you to gain a little more awareness and control and transform your wellness and your lifestyle so that you can be more resilient to stress and anxiety in the future. That's what I want for you. To me, that's a long-term solution. So we can't overlook the importance of adopting healthy lifestyle habits and managing anxiety and disordered breathing patterns such as air hunger. We're going to look at balanced diet. So consuming nutrient-rich foods help us manage health and digestive issues. So reducing alcohol, reducing caffeine, these are essential as both can exacerbate our anxiety. Caffeine, for example, will stimulate the body's stress response, increasing breathing rate and feelings of air hunger. Alcohol, although it's initially relaxing, has a paradoxical effect on anxiety and breathing. Alcohol worsens anxiety, period. Neurochemical imbalances will happen. So, alcohol affects our neurotransmitters in the brain, including our serotonin and our GABA. Initially, it may produce feelings of relaxation and euphoria, but usually that's short lived. The effects, once they wear off, we have like a rebound that increases anxiety due to this altered neurochemical balance. Alcohol disrupts the natural equilibrium of those neurotransmitters, leading to increased stress and anxiety over time. You're also going to disrupt your sleep when you have alcohol. You're going to have a dehydration and electrolyte imbalance to deal with. These are all stimulating to your nervous system. And then that stress response is increased. It heightens your stress response. The liver metabolizes alcohol and produces stress hormones like cortisol. Increased cortisol levels can perpetuate the cycle of anxiety and stress, exacerbating symptoms of air hunger and disordered breathing. Okay, so that was a lot. That's just in your nutrition. So see how these changes we can make can really make a big difference on our anxiety and our breathing patterns. Then there's regular physical activity. How are you exercising? How can we incorporate some more mind body into that exercise? Make sure we get enough rest, those types of things, and also enough challenge. Adequate hydration, I mentioned that. Sleep, I mentioned that. Social well-being, building strong social connections and fostering healthy relationships help us overcome air hunger and anxiety because having a supportive social network reduces stress and anxiety. It stabilizes. We co-regulate with people, so it can stabilize our breathing pattern. A lot of times when people are anxious, the world just kind of shrinks and shrinks and shrinks because they're avoiding everything that causes fear and anxiety. And so we got to get back out there and get social, engage in meaningful conversations, maintain those supportive communities, reduce our stress and anxiety. It calms the nervous system. Emotional well-being, emotional health, I have found is so crucial in overcoming air hunger. Managing stress and cultivating resilience can reduce the psychological factors that are contributing to our air hunger. So it is a mind-body thing. And by the way, the mind, the brain is in the body. So it was never disconnected. Although we kind of talk about it like it is, they're not disconnected. So techniques to help you with emotional healing are going to be journaling. Obviously, therapy is one. Mindfulness practices can really help you regulate your emotions and process them. This will reduce an anxiety-driven breathing pattern. So doctors say that processing emotions in a healthy way prevents stress and anxiety from affecting our bodies, especially our breathing patterns. So doctors know this, mental health counselors know this, but we also have to understand our emotions, name them to tame them, and regularly be processing them. Finally, those are just a few things in your well-being that we're gonna look at, but we're gonna address you as a whole being. So this is holistic wellness, looking at all dimensions of you, your emotional health, your environmental health, your financial health, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, spiritual, all of this makes a big impact if you're trying to manage stress and anxiety and become more resilient to it. So, working on your holistic well being as a whole, all of you, not just your physical health, this will create balance that's crucial for getting you out of air hunger. I know that's what you want. So that's it. That's it for this very long, informative reading of a blog post I created for air hunger. Your next steps for you, I am a coach who has conquered, I feel like, anxiety, panic attack, and air hunger with my own breathing and wellness techniques. I've been in this industry for 18 years and used my background in physiology, wellness coaching, yoga, breath work, all the things that I am very fascinated with and passionate about. I've used them to help myself, and now I've helped hundreds of clients deal with anxiety and breathing pattern disorders. I have a 60-day private coaching program, and this is going to help you breathe well and live well. So it's called Breathe Well, Live Well. It's a private coaching program. It merges breath retraining and holistic wellness strategies to help you manage air hunger and stress effectively. It's not just about taking a big deep breath. It's all about learning how to breathe well in a way that rebalances your nervous system and supports your overall health. Understanding how disordered breathing affects your CO2, understanding how your dysfunctional breathing patterns will heighten anxiety and worsen panic attacks. This is really important. And I don't want you to worry about this. Like I said earlier, breathing is a learned behavior and we can relearn it. We can retrain it. We can become more aware and intentional about how we're breathing throughout the day to support our nervous system. So if you're ready to work with somebody like me, a coach, if you just have a lot of burning questions, book a free 30-minute live coaching call with me. I'm still able to do that for clients right now. I might not always be able to do that, but if you follow the link in the description, you should see a schedule here. Click that link, it goes to my scheduling system, and you can book your free 30-minute discovery call. We can talk about what you're experiencing, how you're dealing with air hunger, and I can give you some gentle guidance and gentle next steps. That might be to work with me, it might not. So it's going to be no pressure. That is your next steps after, if you watch this whole video, you're pretty invested. So go ahead and just book that call and we will get connected. Thank you so much and breathe well.